Hey guys, Brad-Duct Tape-Hale here, and there's been a lot of rumors going around the past few days about Resident Evil 8, and I wanted to throw my hat into the ring on that. First off, a lot of people are saying that Ethan is going to be the successor in this, and I'm going to call doubt on that right off the bat because out of all the Resident Evil games and whatnot, no main title successor has ever repeated a game except pretty much one of the main characters of the series, Chris Redfield. I'm going to cast big doubt on that. Second off, it's going to be first person. No offense, but RE7 was not one of my favorites because the first person. I mean, I get it. We've had past games that have had first person, like Gun Survivor and Code Veronica, even had that mode once you beat it and it was first person, whatnot. To me, it is not my favorite mode to that. I felt too much like Resident Evil 7 was just. To me, Resident Evil 7 was just a gimmick for VR. I mean, it was very much a gimmick for VR. I don't care what you say, it's a return to survival horror or whatnot. Another thing is they talk about werewolves. Now, I can kind of see this because the other games have touched on stuff like 6 was the cocoon virus that touched on, spider stuff, or there were bugs with Code Veronica or G virus or, slugs for RE0 and stuff like that. I can get it like a lichen virus or something, or like wolf DNA or like alpha pack mentality. I can kind of get that. There's just a few things floating around and whatnot, but they also talk about phantom creatures going around. And I don't know, I think they dropped phantom creatures from 4 for a reason, because that's really hard to get in there. They kind of touched it in SEP with the virus made it seem as though you were seeing stuff that really wasn't there. I don't get it. I mean, it's like I was a firm fan of the fact that every Resident Evil game, as it went on, you had 1, which is the tiny mansion, and 2, which was in the city, and 3 spread the city out or was a little bit bigger. Every game slowly expanded on its own, but still kind of had that whole like, I don't. I've got like 20 bullets and a shotgun with 2 shots in it, and I've got all these big creatures coming after me, and I gotta go, but it didn't feel confined, but it still gave you room to explore. And then we started getting into like Code Veronica, which was on the whole island and went to different places. To me, I thought that was awesome because you're just like, oh, all the other Resident Evil games I can beat in 2 or 3 hours. And then Code Veronica built on that and gave you more landscape. And then 4 just blew my mind because you're going on a whole countryside and you're going from this village to this side thing to across the lake to the castle to another castle. I mean, you were literally chasing across the countryside on this stuff because it would make more sense the further you go into it, the more expanded it is. It's not just a little incident in one little side area. It's literally compelled to the fact that it's worldwide now. Because like 5 even touched on that. Revelations in 5 talked on the fact that this is black market stuff. This is stuff being sold on the black market, all the BOWs, all the little things being pop up. It can't just be in this little mansion all the time. You got the little niche of Resident Evil fans that are like, oh no, not my Resident Evil, not my Resident Evil. Oh, it's going to be survival horror all the time. The game expands. It builds up. You can't just keep having the same cookie cutter games every single game and expect it's going to be the same. It has to build on each other. Because we get 5 where they're trying to put out all these little fires all over the world. And then 6 is plus and minus. I know not everyone likes 6 and whatnot. 5 I loved. I liked the fact that it was co-op. But like Outbreak, I felt like they released it a little too early because the AI was not the best. It's got a good story. I like it. I like playing it with friends, but by itself, the AI is effing ridiculous. I don't like Chev's AI. But 6 wasn't too bad. I like the fact with 6, you've got 4 interconnecting stories that mesh in together. And you don't get the full story with one playthrough. You have to play through everything else to know what goes on here and there and there and whatnot. And I thought it was an interesting story. I thought they built on it. I like the fact how none of them had to be surgically enhanced and would modify it in the field. And they went from 5, where they were starting to get 4, kind of showed the fact that the infected could start being intelligent. And 5 showed that they can use weaponry. And 6 really built on that. Like every game, they're like, we took what was last game and we built on it. And everyone was like, no, it's run and gun, we don't like it. It's fucking stupid, we don't like it. You can't keep having the same game over and over and over and over again. I've been playing the game since they first came out. And it's like, it's okay. And because after 6, we went straight to 7, and 7 felt like it wasn't a Resident Evil game at all. It felt like if it didn't have Resident Evil written on it, I would not have known it was a Resident Evil game at all. Half the game felt like it was an excuse. I mean, half the game was a fucking gimmick to sell VR. And the other half felt like it was like, oh, I watched Outlast. I want a game that's like Outlast. That's half the game. You wouldn't know it was Resident Evil unless you found some of the files or Chris Redfield at the end. It's just like, okay. And yes, I've watched Maddie beat the DLC at the end with the whole Zoe thing with the robot punching arm, which I thought was ridiculous. The Not a Hero DLC was okay. I think we need to really kind of stop milking the whole PTSD Chris Redfield shit. It's like, it's okay. It's kind of a dead horse by now. I mean, I don't know. I love it or like it or whatnot. I don't know. Resident Evil 8 is going to be what we already know. Resident Evil 8, the initial one got scrapped. It's done. They're not messing with it. They're building from the ground up, and everyone's jumping on any rumor they can get, and it's just whatever. I played most Resident Evil games. Umbrella Corps, Operation Raccoon City, I thought were pieces of shit because they were just cranked out for money. I think RE7 was, while pretty, it was very bland. It was very It was not scary because people were like, oh, it's so scary. And I'm like, I was more annoyed than I was scared playing that game. Then we go back and remake Resident Evil 2, and I thought they did very well with that. They did an amazing job. They did this. I mean, they changed it just enough. It was different. It wasn't exactly like the original. It was about 85% like the original. But there was enough spice in there. You're like, I've had pound cake before, but this is better. This is sweeter. It was, I can almost dare say, better than the original. Don't get me wrong, the original still has a place in my heart. I really look forward to Resident Evil 3. I really, really look forward to Resident Evil 3. I cannot wait for it to come out. I cannot wait for the fact of Nemesis chasing me all around. People are like, oh, there's more action-oriented. Yeah, it's going to fucking be action-oriented. You're in the middle of the city when the zombie apocalypse happens. Oh, no. I'm sorry, you're too much of a pansy to understand the fact when a zombie apocalypse happens, you're not just going to be in a house locked by yourself with 20 zombies. The city is literally infected. And I have a feeling it's going to be Jill interacting with the infection while it's happening, not the we're already at it like we got introduced in Resident Evil 3, which technically wasn't Resident Evil 3. Code Veronica was 3. Our original RE3, which everyone holds like a holy fucking Bible amongst the Trinity, was literally just DLC expansion for RE2. I'm very interested to see where this goes. I think this is going to be awesome. I think this is going to be really, really cool. And I can't wait for Nemesis chasing me down because he's going to have twice as strong AI for Mr. X. And if you're smart enough, when Mr. X came out, everyone's like, oh, I don't like him. Oh, he's so hard. You just run him around. It took me a day to figure out how to get around him. Nemesis will probably be no different. Is he going to be annoying? Yeah. And I'm also very glad they're taking out all the 50 fucking choices the whole game. Because that's sick and tired because you were trying to get all the endings. Literally was like, play the same game, different answer. It's like A, B. B, A. It's like, it doesn't really derive the game much. It's too much RNG. It's like, just let me play the game. Let me enjoy it. I mean, it's like, yeah, it was a big thing back in the time, but too many games have done the press A shit since then. I'm very glad they're just going to let us play the game and go through and have fun and upgrade it and just kick ass. And I can't wait to kick ass as Jill. I can't wait to kick ass as Carlos. It's going to be a lot of fun. Just main thing is like, if Resident Evil 8 comes out and it's got werewolves, all right, cool, it's got werewolves. But the Resident Evil fan base has got to stop bitching. You guys will play the game no matter what, and all you're going to do is bitch and grasp at straws, and it's just enjoy it. I remember when Resident Evil game used to come out, and people were like, this is awesome. I remember when Outbreak 2 came out, or Outbreak 1 came out, or like Gun Survivor came out, and everyone loved it. It's the same generation that thinks Silent Hill 2 is the best horror game ever. It's one of the most boring ones ever. Plot devices from a mile away, but that's a different video down the road. Guys, that's all we got right now. Thanks for tuning in. If you like what you see, like, comment, and subscribe. If you think my opinions are different, whatnot, you guys will argue with me in the comments anyway. You always do. Remember, like always, be like duct tape. Stick to it. Bye-bye. Oh, and I might be working on Nemesis.